this is the age, like 40 years old. It sucks, but I'm seeing a lot of my friends, people I care a lot about, just struggling with meaning at this point because you've done the things you're supposed to do. You go to school, you get a job, you get a wife, you get a kid. That's that's a dream come true, isn't it? You know? But then
Mhm.
here we are, and for some reason they're just like stuck. Because now what do you do?
Welcome to the 40-Day Empower Potential Challenge podcast with Andrea Haynes, where I interview people who are creating transformational momentum in their lives one day at a time through consistent and intentional effort. Welcome. We are doing a brand new
Thanks.
episode today. I've got my wonderful brother Danny Burton with me today. He's done all four challenges that we of the 40-day challenges this year. And so we're going to be talking about the progress, the progression, and the momentum that you have been seeing as you've been doing these challenges. But before we do that, why don't you tell, I know lots about you, but I probably don't know everything about you, even though you're my brother, just so that our guests kind of get an idea of who you are and what you do and what you're about.
Sure, sure. Thanks. Yeah, my name's Danny. We've got six of us, so big family. Grew up all together, pretty still pretty tight. And I've got a lovely wife named Michiko. She's immigrated here from Japan. Two great kids, Noah and Alina. They're 15 and just about 13. And I'm loving life right now. I tell you, I'm feeling so good. I'm really, really grateful for what I've got, and my family is everything for me. So the as far as work right now, I've kind of got uh, my hands in a few different areas, but I pay the bills with mostly just renting out vehicles to tourists, doing mortgages for people, and yeah, I'm able to do that out of the house. So I'm home with the kids a lot of the time. I'm home when they're they get home from school, and I'm present, mentally as well. I worked retail for most of their lives growing up until just about the beginning of COVID. And so worked a lot of evenings and weekends and wasn't able to just be there, in present mind and body. But I am right now, and I feel really good about it, and I'm in a great place. So super grateful, just happy to be here, happy to be alive.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I love life.
watching you as your, older sister and seeing that transition for you, it was a massive shift for you. And I don't think you really realized how much pressure and stress you were living in on a daily basis until you unplugged from that job and then created something different for yourself. And then you were like, whoa, wow.
Yeah, that's really
Looking
true.
back, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but I'll share with you. First of all, you have to do something. You have to be productive and you have to be busy. When COVID first happened, I went right from being extremely busy to not doing anything at all other than just leisure. And that's great, but you know, your nervous system isn't built for that. You need to be productive, and there's a clock inside you that keeps track of your productivity, and it won't reward you unless you're doing something that you decide is useful. So, it's important. You do have to be productive, but it's just really something to try to find that the right balance between the two. Because yeah, for certain, I was just too busy, and I remember, and I was thinking to myself, I had these thoughts, and this, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. It wasn't ever really too serious, but I had a feeling often toward the end of my like retail career working at car dealerships, where my kids were, I guess they would have been 8 and 10, and I would think to myself, okay, I just have to do this for 10 more years, and then they won't need me as much anymore. And then after that, I can, whatever, I can die or I can sleep forever or whatever. It's like, then my purpose will be fulfilled and then my life, whatever, it doesn't matter. I just felt like I had to endure that for 10 more years, that quote unquote suffering or whatever I wasn't doing. And
Right.
it wasn't mine. It wasn't my course. As much as I absolutely loved the time that I had with my kids and looking back through our pictures and, asking the kids, it was all good, but just my sense where I was sort of centered, it wasn't great. It wasn't self-driven, and it was very reactive. Just doing what needed to be done every day. And
Right.
that's not where I am now, and I feel way more centered. And I feel like everything is just a journey now, and there's something to explore behind every door now. Every challenge that comes up, I think to myself, "Oh, cool! How are we going to sort this out?" Versus, it just piling on and me feeling like, oh, now I got to sort that out. So mentality shift for sure, for sure. So grateful.
Sounds
Yeah, very
incredible.
grateful.
I'm glad for
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Yeah, I'm glad
So
too. I'm very, very grateful.
let's talk about your challenges. Let's talk about
Cool.
so you've done the April one, the May one, the summer one, and then we started a September 9th one, and we're getting to the end of that one. So why don't you share what you've done for each challenge and just kind of talk about that development and then kind of what you've seen as you've done all four, what's kind of been unfolding for you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So we started off with the no sugar. That was your recommendation. That's what you had done. And I think it's a great start for everybody because it's like, it's seriously low hanging fruit, the amount of sugar that we put into our bodies and the effect that it has on us. So did that. And then at the same time, decided that I would put an hour a day of exercise in. Now, yeah, the first 40 days were really interesting because it was kind of new and it was a matter of just, okay, focus, right? Put this work in, working out every day. It didn't turn out to be every day, but it was, between 5 and 7 hours in a week. So I kind of
Oh,
justified it that way. But I got 5 days in, and then the times that I missed, I would like make up for it the next day by doing extra or doing it twice or whatever. So I was pretty committed early on. And then I lost a bunch of weight early, and I wasn't actually really expecting that because I wasn't like it happened really quickly. I think probably a lot of it was just inflammation and like holding water in my body, right? Likely as well.
mm,
But the experience of that was like, oh wow, this really wasn't that hard. I love sweet food. I love like savory, rich food late at night. I'm like, I'll share with you. I've snuck down into the middle of the night around Thanksgiving time, and I had pumpkin pie right out of the fridge, just like standing there at 2 in the morning. I'm like serious an addict. It's a low point for me. So I do love sweet food for sure. I'm an addict. Yeah. But I'll also say
uh,
that, I see it's funny. I don't want to sound odd, but I see sugar as just a drug, really. It's a substance that just gives you that instant reward. It's great. And then there's a penalty and a price at the end of it, for sure. The tough part
it's not
is
all.
like,
It's true.
it's
It
not
is.
on.
It
Okay,
really
well,
is.
they're good. Well,
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it because I have the same sort of relationship with it. Um, I yeah, I stopped drinking alcohol about 10 years ago and not it was never a problem. I just casually drank and decided one time I would stop for a little bit and that just turned into 10 years. And I never really struggled with it, but I'll tell you that it's not really something that you want to just play with. You shouldn't take those things lightly, like casually drinking, because it's like casually smoking or casually doing, cocaine or something really serious. Like those are drugs. You don't really want
Mm,
to play with them. Our society, like for some reason, embraces alcohol differently than it does for other drugs.
mm,
But
mm,
we just don't see we see those all as a category of drug, but we don't see sugar that way because you need to eat and you actually need sugar. That's why it's unique in that sense. You can't just stop eating foods that you have a pathological relationship with because you need them.
mm,
So how you figure
mm,
that out is difficult. So the idea being that yeah, I would still eat fruit that's got sugar in it for sure. I never went to the extent of not eating ketchup, for example, where ketchup's got sugar in it probably quite a bit. So I wasn't super strict about it. Just nothing that I would acknowledge that had sugar in it for the purpose of delivering that sugar into my body. You know what I mean? Like sweets,
yeah.
cakes, things like
Right.
that. So I stopped that and I got pretty big cravings early on, and I would have to just sit there and like, okay, just gonna smash 3 apples right now, just like get through this. Um, anyways, yeah, that was cool. I got through that, and it was fun, and it wasn't as hard as I expected. It was the exercise has always I've had a really interesting relationship with exercise because I love it every time that I do it, but for some reason you just don't do it. It's a tough thing to
Mm,
get right. I don't like going to the gym, like doing cardio. I find that very boring, and it doesn't appeal to me. So,
mm,
fortunately, Colin, my little brother, our little brother, has been teaching us Muay Thai classes for the last year or so, year and a bit, and I've been into that, really interested in it. So I was able to just turn that cool new hobby that he's brought into my life into my exercises, and it just took off. It was
Mm,
really fun. It was great. I love doing it. I love that I get better at it as I'm exercising. It doesn't feel like sitting on a treadmill, you know.
mhm.
So that would be my advice to anyone as well. If you don't like working out, just do it differently. Figure it out, because if you don't like doing it, you won't do it. I know that for myself. I actually like having done it, obviously. That's the reward part. But the process
Mhm.
of being through it, you need to push. So if it's torture, I mean, you can get through it. It's not something that'll last forever. You'll inevitably
Right.
fall off, right?
Right.
And or whether it's an injury or what stress in your life or on a vacation, or all it takes is like a week of broken patterns and you're back to your old
Mm.
habits. So that
You
that's
know,
something I learned that
can
helped.
can I interrupt there? I just wanted to share, so just so people know, I think one thing that's made it even more powerful for you is like you enjoy the Muay Thai. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Muay Thai. Yeah.
Muay Thai. Okay. You're enjoying it, but also, so you've brought Muay Thai into your home. Like you're using your basement as a gym, and you have your, our brother come in. Your son is doing it. Some of our nephews are doing it. You have friends that are
Oh
coming. So
yeah,
you're actually, it's more now than just exercising because you're involving other people. So now you're
for sure.
interacting with your friends and family and connecting. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
absolutely, Annie.
why
It's become a
there's
really cool part of my life.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to Uncle Colin. Like he did that all growing up. He's just a super good athlete, and he's a tough kid. And he tried to get me into it during our 20s, and I was like, and I really wish I had, because I'm 40 some now, and my body doesn't do what it would when I was 20. But anyways, yeah, my boy Noah, he's into it. He's a killer. He's so tough. He's just turned 15, and
And competing
like,
too, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's been through some tournaments and done really well there. But he's a really
Hmm.
tender kid. Like, he's a tender, soft boy, but he can smash. It's so cool. I'm very proud of him. I think every
Hmm.
child should do martial arts growing up, and Muay Thai is just a very effective and very intense martial art. So yeah, so Noah now, he's learned the ropes. He went to Japan for half a year and was studying it there, and now he's back, and he actually runs a kids class now. And he teaches. He's their coach. And we've got about 10 kids that come over, and he coaches them. And then
Cool.
we've got our adult class that has. We've got maybe a dozen people that cycle through, and not everyone makes it every week, but we've usually got a good group. And
Hmm.
Colin, yeah, he's just got so much to teach us, and it's endless. You can keep learning that thing forever. So I'm just scratching the surface of it, but loving it. And now
That's
I've
cool.
actually got a ladies class that we've started. So I've got
Oh.
about six ladies that come, and I coach them, and then the men get together and do their sparring afterwards. So yeah, it's Tuesday, Thursdays. That's our evenings now, and amongst so many other activities that are in our lives with the kids, cheerleading and hockey and volleyball and whatever. There's just so many things going on, but
Mhm.
that's been the part that I've sort of latched onto for my journey through getting back into health. So it's been good.
Super cool. I love it. Okay, so let's keep going. So next challenge. Okay, so anything else with that first challenge that you wanted to share or talk about?
Okay, so yeah, I'll try to run through the challenges. I get
Yeah.
chatty here. My apologies. So
I
from
asked
there,
you a question.
actually, those are the ones, Annie, that I'm glad I started with, because they've been the ones that I've sort of really committed to through the whole thing. I never turned back from there, because they're just so important. And if I were to start eating snacks again, I'd go right back to where I was. So that's just crucial, right? Basically, it means that I can't eat any food that's wrapped up, is what it comes down to. If it's in a package, it's probably not for me. So I've been eating a lot better. I feel great. My energy level's up. I felt sick for a long time, and I couldn't even muster up the energy to exercise. And now there's so many pathogens floating around nowadays too, that you're like sick more frequently too. So it's just hard to get that momentum going. But my general energy levels higher. I'm lighter. I've lost like 30 pounds actually, believe it or not. So I'm still kind of heavy, but
Wow,
yeah, yeah, 30 pounds, crazy.
that's amazing.
Yeah, my hockey's better now. Like, I skate faster, and I'm feeling younger. So I decided, yeah, I'll keep with that. The exercise is super important. I already, between hockey and Muay Thai, I only need to work out like two or three times in a week, and I'm there. So it's actually super easy to get that done because I love the workouts now. I'll probably, I don't like talking like this, but I probably won't go back to sugar. I mean, I can't see why I would do that. It's just not worth it. So I've kept that going. And then from there, I introduced a few like little tweaks for the next ones. I'd keep that in place and then I would add to it. And I think it was a coincidence that I just noticed that the first two things that I did in the 40 days, one was sort of passive where I would stop doing something that I knew wasn't good for me. Another one was active where I would do something that I know would be good for me that I wasn't doing. So I kind of separated in those two categories. And I think that makes sense for me because they are two different things to achieve. Abstaining from something that you want to do and doing something you don't want to do are two different things. So I broke it down to that,
I
and
like
then
it.
I started tweaking things. Like I got into I said I'll start taking cold showers because that's kind of a thing I was playing with a little while ago, and it was a bit of a fad, sort of the Wim Hof Iceman ice bath thing. And I've tried that, and I like it actually. And I like it for a number of reasons. Part of it being that I don't like it. You know what I mean? So I have to just do it and then get mentally tough that way. So I
Uh-huh.
did that. And then I also said I'd wake up early and I would get out, get moving earlier. So I did them, and and then I realized as I reflect after that, the second challenge. I might be getting the orders wrong. I can't even remember now, but I realized that you start lying to yourself and like deceiving yourself. So with regards to the ice baths, I still take just cold showers. So I'll have a hot shower if it's a hockey because there's just a button you can't change the temperature. So when I get in there, it's like, oh, that's nice. But now I just have cold showers. But I also realize I just shower less now. So like,
What?
yeah, I just shower less now. So it's like I'm totally deceiving myself. I haven't really achieved much. I'm just like, ah, I don't need, I don't need to shower that. So anyway,
Hi.
you know,
That's
I,
hilarious.
I noticed that. I'm thinking of myself, I'm like, I haven't had a shower in a couple of days. It's probably because I don't look forward to it anymore. But the showers in the morning, like this morning, I just popped out of bed. It wasn't even for the sake of cleaning myself. It was just to get out, get in there, get cold, and get my heart rate up and breathe a bit. So, and then also I did the thing where I was waking up early, and I would wake up an hour early, and I was just tired during the day. So as I reflected on it when it was finished, I realized that some things aren't a good fit for me. Like what good is it to wake up early if I'm going to be tired during the day? And the catch was that I didn't need to wake up early. What I needed to do was I needed to go to bed earlier. And that was cool because that was
Yeah.
something that I, took note of and realized, okay, waking up early being tired isn't better, but going to bed earlier so you can wake up earlier naturally, that'll work.
Meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. I noticed that. I still haven't circled back and then set myself a bedtime or anything like that, but at least I really learned that through experience, that between 10 and 12 is the time that nothing really gets done anyways. There's no urge for me to be productive at that time. So those are the times that you'll just, sort of flounder until you're like, get yourself up to bed. So getting to bed at 11 versus 12 is a lot more effective and makes a lot more sense. So I've certainly changed that behavior, but I haven't set it for myself, and I still get to bed late sometimes. But that was something that I noticed and I thought was important and I've, I've corrected some of those behaviors. So that's good. I think that was part of it too, just doing it for the 40 days, deciding if it was something that really hit that I wanted to carry on with, or if it was something that I could take bits and pieces from and notice and reflect on, and then maybe just throw it entirely and say, yeah, that wasn't for me, but I got through it and that was okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that was interesting. As I kept them all, I felt like even as we move forward, if I were to every 40 days make a big drastic change, I might get myself to the point that I'm not doing anything that I like anymore. So you do have to be, selective on what you really want to get right. So the challenges I put in place weren't as major, even, as far as I think one of them that we moved forward was just to meditate. That's kind of easy. But because of that, I didn't take it all that seriously and didn't make it this big hard thing because it wasn't that hard, you know? And I think I might have gotten more from
Okay.
it if I had structured it better. I kind of tied it into my stretching, and I was just like, I wanted to be more flexible, so I would stretch after my workouts, and
Right.
then I'd pull a bit of a muscle and say, well, it's just stretching. It's like not that important. It's not as defined, right? So that I noticed as well. If I don't have something with a little bit of structure, then I'll be able to sort of just smooth over it and not acknowledge it. So there
So
are
your
there
goal
are
was just meditate more?
I
That was
was
the goal.
meditate
Was
every
it to
day
meditate
for
every
10
day?
minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every day for
Okay.
10 minutes.
Okay.
But like anything,
Hmm.
meditation, it wasn't a session. It wasn't like a yoga where I had to sit there and set it all up because you can kind of do meditation anywhere in any environment, right? So I would take
Hmm.
that and I would like any if you're not practiced at it, you last 3 minutes and next thing you know you're like, ah, your mind's off somewhere else and you're done. So I need to
Hmm.
learn. I've done it properly many times. I think a guided meditation might be a better answer. So I could circle back to that. But that wasn't a huge success for me. I didn't really benefit as much as I might have from that. But at the same time, I'm kind of in my back of my mind going like, well, I'm still doing all the other things that I had done, so it's okay, and you sort of justify things to yourself. But
Right.
yeah, that
And
was one that
also,
that
like,
it,
I just wanted to say, like, what you said it is that from that goal, you noticed, like, it wasn't as powerful as you thought it would be. You didn't always do it. You got distracted. So the learning that came from it, like you said, was that maybe I need to start with guided meditation. I need to practice that first, get good at that, and making it a habit, and then maybe you can shift where now you can do
right.
10 minutes all by yourself. I actually have a hard time with 10 minutes. I do a 20-minute meditation, but yeah, I chunk it. So I do affirmations at the beginning, and then I do some uh, tuning forks with chakra toning. So that's a part of it. And then I actually only do 5 minutes of like quiet listening. I usually
Mm,
ask a question and then I sit quietly. But I've tried 10 minutes, and 10 minutes I start to wander or I fall asleep. So
yeah, yeah,
I know
falling
that for
asleep
me
for sure
too.
too.
10 minutes is
Yeah,
too much for me, like
yeah.
for with the quiet for now.
It sounds to me like you sort of developed that ritual or that program over a
Over
matter
a
of
long
time
time.
learning what works for you, right? And that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I think I
Yeah.
need to do as well because
Yeah.
I don't really know what works for me. I think I like the concept of it, and when I do it properly, it feels great actually, and I think it's valuable. But it is something that's hard. It's very subtle and it's elusive. It's hard to get right. I think I do need a bit of a ritual, to get myself more fluent in the language of meditation. But
Mm.
so we'll see how
Mm.
that goes. I'll have to circle back on that one and restructure it probably in one of our future challenges and get that right. So last one being shutting off the scrolling, the social media scrolling. That was one that was glaring at me. It was like, just get that done, get that out of your life. So, and then it was also, it was no gluten as well. So, that was big. I took the apps off my home screen. I was, like everyone, I suppose. I don't know how many of us are addicted to this, but it's so ubiquitous. It's every app has a function where you can find yourself doing this, playing the slot machine of dopamine hit of something interesting coming up, right? Like the YouTube, I don't have TikTok, but I'm sure that's just as bad. But YouTube's got its reels and Facebook's got its shorts, or maybe I'm getting those backwards. And you know, you end up putting anywhere from 15 minutes to like an hour of just dead time. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
the truth is it's really, really like good. Like there's some funny stuff that just hits you on there. So I understand why that happens to me and some other people. And I get to the point now where it's like I still have Facebook, the app on my phone because I justified it to myself, but because marketplace is valuable to me, especially because I got a lot of things happening right now where I'm trying to like make, fix
Right.
up a bunch of things and such, and it's something I need access to. So I'll go on to directly to marketplace. So the app's on my phone, but also as a result, sometimes I'll get a message in Messenger because I have Facebook Messenger. That's also valuable to me, and I don't have a problem with that. But someone will send me a link, so I'll click on it. It brings me into that site. So I'll watch it just so I can, show the respect of giving an acknowledgement to the video that person sent me and be courteous.
Mhm.
But instantly the next one comes up. So I've caught myself
Yes.
like I watch that. It's like it's that drug that gets you back in. They know what they're doing, and
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm feeling that thing again. Oh, geez, I gotta stop this. Oh no, and I'll stop. Like I haven't been sucked into a 15-minute session like I was, but it's like I'll start riding that train. Like oh baby,
Good.
and like
Uh,
I've laughed out loud. I'm like, oh, I kind of missed this. Like it's so funny. I don't know. The internet is like it wins, man. It's some funny, funny stuff
mm,
out there, but it's
mhm.
absolute trash. It's sugar diet all day. It's so bad. So yeah, those reels are the sugar of internet. So I'm
I
glad
like
that's
it.
gone. I don't get trapped into that. I think most people probably are just addicted to that. Those reels. We did this. I joined you last Sunday for the cell phone fast, and that was interesting to see how often I sort of thought about it. That was one of the things you asked me to note, and it
Mhm.
was not a matter of how frequency. It was a matter of the behavior was attached to activities that I would do. Like literally, I would go to the washroom and sit down, and as soon as I sat down, that urge would hit because I'm like, oh, that's when I grab my phone instead of looking on the toilet. But like, so it
Right.
was like it's attached to the
Interesting.
behaviors. Yeah, it's tied to the motion of your day. That's what I noticed. As soon as it's like, okay, I'm waiting in line for
Mm,
something. Okay, phone. It's those empty sort of dull moments, you know. So I think, I mean, I'll go
interesting. I
camping
like it.
out to the forest and there's no cell phone signal and I don't think about my phone. I don't care about it. I don't
Mm,
miss it. A week
mhm.
out there, it doesn't matter. I don't think about it at all. I generally don't know where it is. But when you know it's there, it's like having a candy bar in your pocket when you're not eating sugar. It's like, that's
Oh, I
way more
love
difficult,
that,
right?
Danny.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I
yeah, yeah,
love that
yeah.
analogy. It's so
Well,
true.
it's kind of
Wow,
like that
yeah,
because it's there,
that's
right?
profound.
So if I really wanted to be serious about it, and if I felt like maybe if I failed this time around and just couldn't take it, then maybe I would have to delete the apps from my phone completely. But like
Mm,
they're on there, and just having them off my home screen was enough for me to not feel like I just broke the pattern of getting in there and needing to do that scrolling because I don't want that. I don't see the value in that at all. It's a
mm,
slot machine, man. It's a loser thing to do,
mm.
unfortunately. And I say that only about myself and my own behaviors. I don't mean to project that on anybody, but I know that. Like you know it when you're doing it. It's a shamefully pleasurable behavior. So glad
Yeah,
that we did
yeah.
that. That was one that I was putting off. I probably should have done that a challenge before, but I was like, no, I like it. And so, yeah, those have been my challenges that I've done. I've really enjoyed them. The active part of the last one was to bring somebody else on and enjoy it with them. So, a good friend of mine, yeah, a good friend of mine decided to join me and us in this journey. So his first
Bob.
challenge. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, and he's such a
Yeah.
cool guy. He's a stud. He's a real man. He's an old school guy. He just finished building his house and he can do, he just built a sports car from scratch. Like he's a real man.
Wow.
And I look
Cool.
up to him for sure for a lot of reasons. And he's a gentleman and he's a good husband and he loves his kids, and he's honest. But like me, he was getting fat. And it's like, sucks, you know? Like,
Mm,
you don't want
mm-hmm.
that for yourself. You want to reward
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You want to feel a certain way. And it's not about exactly about your image in other people's eyes, but, as much as it's about the way you feel about yourself how you carry yourself, right? And also how much energy you have and how much longevity you have for your kids in the next 10
Right.
years and how
Yeah.
you feel when
Yeah.
you wake up. Like, there's so much that I'm enjoying that I wanted to share with him. And he was the first person that I wanted to reach out to and invite. And sure enough, he's like, yeah, let's go. So he's been off sugar. He's taken it very seriously, like no ketchup. He's reading the ingredients and stuff. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, he's done it. And he said, I talked to him the other day. He said, the other night I was like mad. He said, Danny was weird. He was like, I was actually mad, like physically angry about it. He's like, I was surprised how that felt. And whatever. He's like, I just telling you the truth, how hard it was. He's like, what am I doing? This is stupid. I should just eat some sugar. And yeah, I thought, man, that's how addicts behave, right? Thank you for sharing that with me.
Wow.
But yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's a stud. So he's taking it seriously, and then he's already planning for his next one, what he's going to do. His active one was to listen to his daughter better, which I thought was super cool. He's found like she's
Love that
13 now.
one.
Yeah, me too. And he'd often find like she would say things that don't make sense, and he'd kind of shut her down and give her trouble because that's the wrong thing to think or say. And he said, "Well, no, I'm going to listen more and try to get to the bottom of what she's
Mm,
thinking." So really cool. Like what a great thing to decide. So
right. So one of my questions was, and you just basically answered it, is have you seen benefits that have carried over into other areas of your life? And basically
yeah,
you just shared that, yeah, I feel it in
yeah,
how I feel, how I wake up, my energy, like all of those things. I'm
hmm
not getting as sick. So it sounds like
yeah,
it really is carrying over into multiple areas of your life. So I'm really, really
yeah, for
excited
sure.
to
For
hear
sure. Well,
that.
so I'll
That's
share
awesome.
with you, Annie. So I felt early when I first stopped working retail hours. I was in, good enough shape. I wasn't in great shape. I was still getting a little heavy every about 5 pounds every year after I got married or something like that. It just accumulates slowly. You don't notice it.
Mm,
But I always told myself, well, I'm just too busy to work out. If I had more time, I'd be in great shape. And then that simply didn't happen. Like I had all the time in the world for the first few years during COVID, and I just got fat and lazier, you know? So it's
mm,
not like I was just making excuses for myself, is the reality, right? Yeah, the point was that I told myself I made excuses for myself, and then when that didn't happen, I sort of just avoided the whole concept of taking responsibility for my own health, and just I was like, ah, it's
mm.
okay. I'm a nice guy. I'm fun to be around. I got things to, that I'm doing okay at,
Yeah,
you know. And also at
yeah.
the same time though, I really did, okay, this is where I want to go with that. I really did reframe what I valued in myself during this last 4 years because I was just working too much and it was taking up 80% of my life energy. Where,
Mm, mhm.
I think the right balance is like, I don't know, maybe a quarter because there's a lot of life to live outside of that. And, in some
Yeah.
environments, in some economies, in some situations, maybe it requires more, but not for us, not for me. I think you need to put in as much time and energy as required to get yourself the resources to live the life that you can, and that from there, once you've got your bills paid and you're fed, there's so much life to live. There's so much you can offer. There's so much you can learn and explore and share and help in this. Anyways, I had the room and the leeway to start exploring what about my life was valuable and what I actually liked. Most of us are just kind of put in this path ever since we're in school. What are you going to be? What's your job going to be? What's your career going to be? And then that's going to define your worth, right? How much money you have based will qualify you for a certain life partner,
So true.
and
Yep.
right.
So
So
true.
it's hard to
Yep.
define outside of your career what you're valued for. What are you worth? Because a lot of people just work and then die, and that sucks, right?
And when you
Um,
meet new people, it's they like, what's your name and what do you do?
What do you do? So
Like
true,
which they
Annie. I
mean what
found
do
early on, I started
what do
avoiding that. I
they
was like, oh,
what
I
do
don't
they
want to talk about that. Like,
yeah.
I don't.
Those are the
So
two
yeah,
questions when we want to
good
know
point.
what people,
Yeah.
right?
What do you do?
What's
So
your
I love that
name
you
and what do
said
you
that
do?
because let me tell you something. I stopped saying that and I started asking people, what do you do for fun? And I love that question. Hey, how's it going? I'm Danny. So what do you do for fun? And then it's like the conversations are way more interesting because people don't start feeling like I'm asking
Mm,
them to define themselves so I can judge them or whatever the weird way that conversation tends to go. Or sometimes people feel great about it and they want to talk and share about it, but I'm not interested in it, honestly. I want to hear about people's hobbies.
mm,
Like that's really cool to me. And sometimes it's like nothing. It's like, oh well, we better fix that because it's not going to work for the rest of your life if you don't figure out something that's fun, Anyways,
yeah, I love that.
this is the age, like 40 years old. It sucks, but I'm seeing a lot of my friends, people I care a lot about, just struggling with meaning at this point because you've done the things you're supposed to do. You go to school, you get a job, you get a wife, you get a kid. That's that's a dream come true, isn't it? You know? But then
Mm,
here we are, and for some reason they're just like stuck. Because now what do you do? There's nothing else to do. Well,
mm,
you raise your kids and you nurture and you embrace and do all those things, but you have to unplug from that rail system that you've been on in order to be able to do all those things, right? And yeah, it's time to explore. For most of my friends, I realize that like a hobby or something that you take interest in and do for yourself is really valuable.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
I
been
love
cool
that.
having somebody that I feel sort of that different relationship, that more of a mentor, relationship, and not that I mean,
Hmm.
it's our relationship is balanced and reciprocal, but it's cool that he looks to me for that, and we can work together the same way that I look to you for that guidance. So that's been really cool too. So that's been my journey up
Love
until
it.
this point. I feel good. The biggest change, frankly, is just the way I feel. The way I feel when I wake up,
Hmm.
the way I feel when I exercise, the way I feel when I play sports. I'm not as sick as I was. You know, so for
It's
sure.
about it's about the joy, right? Like it's
Yeah,
not, and like you said, you were kind of just stuck in the enduring part, but now you're
yeah,
really flipping it and looking at the joyful part and living in a
yeah.
place of joy, looking for it,
Yes.
striving for it, living it, right? Which is so
Yeah, yeah,
exciting to hear. And more of
yeah,
us
for
need
sure.
to
And
live in that. Yeah. So I'm
yeah, I
excited for you.
live in
It's really
a
awesome.
naturally occurring state of gratitude lately. And I say that
Cool.
like humbly because I have always known that gratitude is important, and I feel like I've often, if not always, practiced it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason or another. I've always felt grateful. I've never felt resentful. Often I've looked back on this, Andy, and I wonder if it's just a matter of how we grew up. We grew up in some what some people would consider like desolate conditions, but I don't really see it that way. I don't have any emotions attached to it. Like I've always just reframed, thinking like, oh, it was great. Like we were sort of just basking in love all the time. The amount of love that was poured on us from our dad and the people around us, and I always felt like my family had my back, and I didn't care much about the things I could have had. I always just had
Mm-hmm.
enough, and if I wanted more, I was like, okay, cool. How can I get that? And then I would just try to figure it out. So
That's
gratitude
really
was,
beautiful.
yeah. But now I don't know, everything I have, everything I could ever dream of right now, and I honestly feel like even a trip to Mexico would just be like, that's a lot of work. Like I got such a good thing going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a long flight. Yeah, I'm so happy.
Uh-huh.
Every day I wake up and like I look at my kids and they're amazing little creatures. Let me tell you, they're they're so awesome. And my wife and my relationship is just getting deeper and richer, and it's cool. Yeah, I'm a happy guy, Annie. So let me tell you how good that feels, and not be have that overshadowed by. I know I get chatty here, but let me just add to this. I felt a lot of joy all throughout my life, even when I was very busy and overwhelmed with work. But I always felt in a good moment where, you build everything up. We'd get kids out into the forest to camp, and we'd bring out their dirt bikes and do all these cool things. And in those moments, I thought, oh, I feel happy now. And it was like a dark cloud was always hanging over, going, yeah, but there's Monday, bud. Don't forget about that. And I could never really just like embrace that moment because I knew that it was going to end,
So you would
you know?
escape for a little while, but then yeah, yeah,
No, but
right,
even in
got
the
it.
moments, instead of just being able to enjoy the moments, I would instantly think, oh, yeah, but this is going to end. And it's like it was robbing me from enjoying
Mm.
the moments. I don't feel that anymore. It's like literally my life is just one cool, interesting thing after the other. And even when I'm working, it's like I know there's so many people that are happy around me, and there's cool stuff waiting for me around the corner for my kids, and their hobbies and their
Cool.
development. Yeah, for sure. And I always think
That's
like
awesome.
this could all end too. And I know that. I'm aware of that. I'm not naive to think but that's part of the beauty of it. It's like here I am living this amazing life amidst this chaotic world. Like, what are the odds? I should be so grateful. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but man, it's good right now. You know,
It's awesome.
it's
Hmm.
awesome.
And even if things come crashing down around you, I was reflecting on this quote that I just heard. President Nelson actually said this, and I've been thinking about it. And it was like, joy doesn't come from the circumstances of our life, it comes from the focus of our life. right? And that
Hmm.
sounds like you've put yourself in a place where your focus is joy, right? And so because your focus is joy, you're experiencing more and more of it because that's what you're looking for. So even if things do
Maybe,
shift and
maybe,
change.
yeah, yeah, maybe. It's funny. I still get little moments of relapse where I feel a little guilty about it sometimes from people around me who are still really focused on their career and
Mm,
their life and stuff, and
mm, mm.
that's that thing they've been doing their whole life. I still get a little
Right,
bit where I get caught up, where I'm like, I don't need to justify to you why I feel like really good about my life and that I don't need to, go and do all of those things again and like
right,
achieve all of those things.
right.
So I do get sort of trapped once in a while and sucked back into that a little bit, but it doesn't last very long. And then I'm back into being joy centric. Yeah,
Joy-centric. Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
But I'm
Joy-centric.
not. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not a bubbly. Like I'm not. I don't know. I'm not an entertainer anymore. Like as kind of
Mm,
probably was more when I was overwhelmed. I would always just push to be, you know, bring joy or something like that. But
mhm,
I just feel like I'm more passive about it, and it still just arrives. So yeah,
like it's just oozing from inside of you rather than it's
yeah,
your happy
kinda,
face.
yeah, kinda. And you said, Annie, like if everything came crashing down, I can say this with all honesty. Like if I lost everything that I have right now, all of these things, the house and whatever, everything that feels stable and good and rewarding, the I feel like the first thing that would come to mind is like, okay, well, how are we gonna figure this out? Cool. All right. Well, let's let's figure this out. Like I
Right.
don't know. I don't care that much about it. I just love that it's there so I can feel the joy that I have. It's not my source of it though. And I know that my wife and kids would be with me on that journey of figuring that out, whatever that looked like, you know?
Yeah,
So I've got
I love
just
it.
this perfect little infrastructure of well-being that's in place for me right now. And it's allowing me,
Mm,
the work I've put in over the years have allowed me to be where I am now. So you have to do it though. This isn't a message for a
mm.
20-year-old. You know, you got to work,
It's a journey.
unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
you got to
journey.
go and put in the work, and that'll allow you to understand what's important. I believe that.
hmm Beautiful. I love it. So just one last thing that I wanted to ask you. You shared with me a couple weeks ago kind of a profound awareness that came to you. You're out on a walk just with the
Yeah,
challenges and everything that you're doing, the progress
yeah,
in your
yeah,
life.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted you to share that. You've shared it with me, but I want you to share it with us.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I called you to tell you that as I was walking. So I was
Mm,
walking my pup, my dog. He's got a great little lab. He's 4. His name's Hudson, and it was like I don't know, 27 degrees or something like that. It was super nice out and calm, still day, and the leaves are, they're changing, and it's a beautiful day. And I thought to myself, like, wow, it's like summertime right now, but it's September. It could be snowing right now, and that wouldn't be out of the question. We've had that before.
mm, mm,
And then I just had this really, I don't know why it hit me so profoundly, but I had this feeling where it's like, oh, that's kind of what I'm experiencing right now. Like I'm having the experience of a summertime in my life, which is like the me at 25 or 30 years old. And
mm,
I'd already had a couple of cold September days that I'd experienced, which is the being 40 years old and being tired and feeling like I might just decline now slowly until I'm an old man. That's a cold September day where the leaves are falling off, you know? And then you come along and invite me to do this challenge and I accept and I just feel so reinvigorated and I'm I'm feeling like it's opened up this whole new chapter of another 10 years of my life now of health and positive energy and self-improvement that that September day that was like this could be August 15th and it would feel the same. Like I'm living in the extra bonus years of my life right now that you kind of not suppose I've given it to myself, or thank God, or but thanks to you and your invitation, that's what it felt like. And it just hit me like, oh, this day right now is just a gift that I'm enjoying. That's how I feel about myself and my life right now. Because I was okay with it. I was like, oh, it's fall now. I'm 40. Summer was good. Life was good. Had some fun. Played some sports. Did some cool stuff. Went on some neat vacations. Yeah. Just wait for winter to come now, and that'll be the end. I was like, no, wait, man. September can be beautiful, and here I am. So I think it's relative. I think if you're 50 and you feel that way, you're still gonna feel that much better when you start making the right choices. And then you're 60, it's no different. Like I'm just having this experience as a 40-year-old, but 40, 41, and we're almost 42 if I'm being honest. But anyways, 40. So I think it's there for all of us. It is just a matter of just doing the right small incremental improvements that'll allow you to feel like you're on that path towards something good, you know?
Mm, hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's why
love
I
it.
called you. I'm
And
like, this is
thank
a
you.
cool feeling. I'm gonna call Annie.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And I just thought that is so profound and I love it. And just how you're at 40 and you feel like you're back to the summer part of your life because of the steps that you've been taking on a consistent basis. And it's shifting you and giving you more, it's giving you more to look
Hmm.
forward to. And yeah, just creating space for that summer that you're still
Yeah.
experiencing the beautiful or the beauty of summer. So,
Yeah. And I feel inspired now to sort of share this as well. But it's hard to properly understand what other people are going through, and you don't really know it until sometimes like it's almost they're at their limit. And I've had this experience a few times lately, and it bothers me, and I still don't know how to reconcile it. But I've had a few friends that are at the point where they've tried to take their lives, and you don't know it, and you love them so much, and you think, how could that be? Like life is so amazing and it's beautiful, and there's so much to enjoy, and I feel like everyone, you internalize and you make it about you, like, oh, what could I have done? It's like, no, there's nothing. It's not about that. It's not anyone's responsibility to try to help somebody, or keep them alive, or whatever it might be.
mhm,
But when I when I experience that, the first thing I want to do is just share, mm, as much of this as I can. You know, this idea
mhm,
that you don't have to live in a life that's stifling you to the point that you want to die. You don't have to do that. There are things you can change, and there are things you can do, and there is so much beauty in the world. You can find it. It's under every rock if you're looking for it. Like, and there's so much. It's at least interesting. If nothing else, it's like life can be so interesting. So yeah, I know that if we're all overwhelmed with debt and stuck in a job that's tough and just trying to make ends meet so we can afford that extra car payment and vacation, it's like, and then you want to die. I don't, for me, it sounds like such a tragedy when you just need to eat and love and play. Like, life can be so simple.
there's a
Seriously.
book and a movie. Eat, love, play.
Yeah.
Maybe it's eat,
Yeah.
love, pray. I'm not sure, but
Or,
I like this one too.
but
Eat, love, play.
right. Yeah.
Eat good,
So
wholesome food.
I want to say,
Yeah.
like, if, if the answer to that is stop poisoning ourselves with food, and then distracting ourselves with work that's not necessary, and then not taking care of our bodies, allowing our nervous systems to be balanced and healthy because we're physically active. If that's all it takes to be able to feel like your life is worth enduring, I don't know. It seems to me maybe I'm just was blessed with a well functioning nervous system and a good perspective for something like that. I don't know, but because I don't know what other people experience, but I've been through tough times, and I've been, I understand what it feels like to struggle. But I don't know, even struggling can be interesting, Annie. So making intentful, self-driven improvements to your life in increments that are, you challenge yourself with something that you think you can do, that you know you should do, and then doing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. That's just life. That's just the purpose of life. And living someone else's life,
Mm-hmm.
like working at a job that someone else, you show up, they tell you what to do, and you do it so you can get paid. It's like, yeah, I get it. You got to eat, but like deciding what to do for yourself and then doing it is so valuable. And that's where, for me, that's where the value comes from in this whole thing. It's like you challenge me to decide something that I think would be good for myself, and then I do it, and I feel good about it, and I learn, and I
Mm-hmm.
progress. Like that is life. That is life. That's the our we're built literally built for that. We're designed
We
for it.
are.
Our mind, our bodies reward us when we do that. It doesn't matter what the goal is. You just have to set it. And if you set it too
Mm-hmm.
far, you feel sick because you know it's not achievable. And if you set it too close, you feel sick because you know that it's not good enough for you and it's not reaching your potential. Like you're literally
Mm-hmm.
built for that. So you know if you're lying to yourself. You have set goals you know you can achieve or you believe you can achieve, and then you got to go get them. And then life is interesting, and the rest just like happens around you, and you can make good in other people's lives, and you can be a positive figure. Yeah. Thank you, Annie. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know it doesn't really, the words don't really sit right, and it doesn't seem like you're doing that much if you really step back and look at it. It's like, well, what did you do? You told them to stop eating sugar. It's like, no, there's more to it. You're taking this seriously, and you've made a big difference in my life, and I appreciate you and I love you for it. And I hope that you're making a difference in a lot of other people's lives at the same time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. I really love what you said about you making the choice. And that's a big part of the challenges is that, I share with people what I'm doing, but I'm like, this is about you and deciding what's important to you and what you think will be
Hmm.
beneficial to you and what the growth that you need
Hmm.
to have. And so the challenges are very, very personal, and even bringing God into the picture and asking God, what is it that you want me to do with my life? And
Hmm.
seeing, I'm so excited to see the effect that it's had on you, the power that I see that you're like taking into your life, the joy that you're feeling, the change that's happening. And that is my hope and wish for other people as well, that they will see the potential that's there for themselves and make those shifts and just be able to live in a place more of joy and fulfillment and gain momentum in their lives and just see what's possible. So I'm thanks for taking up my invitation and just showing what's possible. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad I did.